who knows how many of those people are actually students. They're all masked, and I firmly believe now that COVID was just a test run to see how we could normalize masks so we could have jihadists out in the streets.
So we're in a true information war. We are in a Philip K. Dick sort of dystopian information war. Once we have humanoid robots, which, you know, they're basically here, well, now what if you put that woke mind virus into them? And they become police officers? I mean, this is 20 years away, if that. Well, would they start treating people differently based on the color of their skin? They probably damn well would, because it would be in the programming.
You're going to basically have a whole bunch of people, basically 90% of human society is going to be half robot and digitized and controlled and be able to be hacked into. And now that, you know, with Neuralink, which obviously is amazing, they can get paraplegics to be able to play chess, and that's just the beginning of it. Well, wait till they can just basically control your mind and just press a button, and next thing you know, you're murdering somebody. 90% of the people are going to be controlled by that freaking thing, and then wait till the system just says, oh wait, there's 10% of the people who haven't been injected with everything, who haven't put all the robots and the nanobots into their systems, and they're living on farms and just living by themselves. They're the ones that are destroying the earth by farming and blah, blah, blah. So what is it that these people will do if they win the elections, right? If they get their Justin Trudeau's in, if they get their Gavin Newsom's in, I think we can go through it very clearly. It's fairly obvious. They will denationalize the entire global economy, right? So you will not have an American economy and a Canadian economy and a Mexican economy. We'll have one economy. That is what the plan is. And then they will internationalize it, right? There will be one thing. It will basically be privatized communism. They will have their stuff, but everybody else will just kind of share. And do you get it about the control part? It's like, oh, you can just sit in your room and you can go to the milk section and you can go to the electronics section and buy this, buy that, and then a drone is going to bring it to your house. And maybe the drone will, you know, fire a rocket at your kids. Who knows? Or maybe if you've been a bad person and perhaps you voted the wrong way or didn't get vaccinated, perhaps Walmart Pay is not going to work for you. Or you'll have to pay more for certain things. Or, as crazy as it sounds, could they maybe charge you more because you're white? I mean, these things, I know it all sounds nuts, but all of this awful woke bullshit hasn't come to its final conclusion yet. It hasn't done exactly what it's supposed to do yet. A lot of people think we're moving past it, and in certain places we are, but the machine, watch the Matrix, man. The machine finds a way of
This
being
is
in
the
front of you.
beginning of some sort of social credit system.
And the powers that be, whatever they are, the governmental powers, the media powers, the people that want to keep you locked up and depressed and everything else, they will always release another variant. They will always release another variant. They will always release something else to scare you and to keep you at home and to exercise some psychotic level of control over you. Is there a giant sort of globalist operation that's sort of taking over the world that we're seeing through COVID and lockdowns and everything else? It's like,
Mail-in voting, where you literally, if you put your envelope up to a freaking soft light like this, you can see right through it. Do you think maybe that would lend itself to cheating?
or if you just take a basic iPhone flashlight to a ballot, you could automatically see the yes and the vote for Larry. No matter which way you folded it, either you could see the yes or you could see Larry.
The machines don't count the votes. They just register that you voted so that you can't vote somewhere else, even though you didn't have to show an ID in the first place.
Did you catch the end there? There's a plan to get them the education and the resources they need. Sort of like a re-education camp. Should we maybe put them in gulags or in special areas, remove them from society where we can then teach them what is good and right? Seems to me this is the Obama third term, that they could only get a certain amount of it done. And this is about Obama basically getting a third term. It's Obama's agenda. He said he would love to have a third term. He knows he can't have a third term, so he'd love to just pull the strings from behind. So every now and again, they tell you exactly what they're doing. The Obama interview where he says, you know, boy, the best thing for me would be to have my 2 terms as president and then basically be able to do everything from behind the scenes. I'm slightly paraphrasing him, but that's pretty much what he said. He's getting that right now. I think all of the worst progressive, leftist, Marxist ideas are being pushed through. None of it makes sense. Why is it that not one country, somewhere perhaps in Africa, that didn't have the technology or the wherewithal or the information to deal with this thing properly? Why did not one country fail? Why didn't we find one city that was completely infected and everyone died? All of this stuff. Like, I'm just asking questions here, okay? I don't mean to be a crazy right-wing conspiracy theorist when I say all this. I'm just asking the questions, but we didn't. Why is it? Just somebody show me one hospital on planet Earth where there are just dead people outside and people that can't get in. Why haven't we seen one city with that? We haven't seen one place somewhere in Africa where perhaps they don't have clean water and they don't have masks and everything else. We haven't seen that anywhere.
Reset phrase has been being bounced around on Twitter a lot. It's not something you're going to hear about in the mainstream news, at least yet. You won't hear about it until they've accomplished all of their goals. It's like, this is not made up stuff.
I keep seeing that they're saying like something like not all of them, but we're seeing like, 90% of the hospital beds in California are overtaken. SoCal and LA, all the hospital beds are overtaken. There's 2 hospitals that I live about 10 minutes between, and I drove by both yesterday, and they're pretty much empty. I did not go in and check every bed, so I'm just telling you what I can see on the outside, which are pretty much empty parking lots and the lines for COVID testing that are completely empty and everything else. It's just like, what's going on here? We know that big tech is manipulating us at every level, at every stage, consistently and constantly. So why is it that Twitter has worked one way for years, and literally 2 weeks before an election, they make it harder or more confusing to send out a message, to amplify a message you believe in? So when I saw it on my phone the first time, I thought my phone was having a glitch or something, because they also didn't even send out a message. I happened to see that Jack Dorsey on Twitter, the CEO, he sent out one message about it. But if you didn't see that, and then you're going, wait a minute, I can't retweet the way I used to, you might not know that something's there. And the reason they're doing that is they don't want certain information to travel as fast as it can or it would with 14 and now less days to an election.
Truth will have no meaning. It will be impossible to speak the truth because we won't have the words for it. Newspeak, we won't even remember what happened yesterday, the memory hole. We will be in a world where regulators will be constantly confusing us, so no one will know what's going on.
Checked, and it was like, there's nobody tweeting about this. So I tweeted that out, and then I said, you know what, I bet I could post a picture of Alf and a poop emoji, and it will get more retweets than that. And my picture of Alf and a poop emoji got something like 3,000 retweets and 10,000 likes, but that didn't trend. Now, all of this is, without getting too insider baseball, it just shows you that they are messing around with us in ways that are unimaginable.
So they're telling you we are using COVID to severely alter how the world will be after COVID.
But, they changed the way you retweet. Remember that, where you suddenly had to hit retweet twice to retweet instead of once. And the reason they did that, obviously, was they were watching out for certain things they didn't want going viral. Perhaps things exposing fraud or whatever it might be after the election. Well, then just in the last few days, they've suddenly said, okay, we're going to go back to the old way of tweeting.
And as I've been saying, there's a war on reality. That's what's happening right now. But the people that are making sense to me right now are the people that are honestly looking at the world as it is, not as they want it to be. But if you only look at the world as you want it to be, you will be endlessly miserable, because guess what? You don't own the world, buddy.
Do you tune into this show to go, what does that conspiracy theorist Dave Rubin think? That guy's really gone off the rails. He's quite an alarmist, and he's making people crazy, and none of the stuff that he says makes any sense. I hope that's not why you're here.
The machines don't count the votes.